Hi, folks. Bill Brooks again, bringing you the Big Bull. This week promises to be a scorcher. Red Elkins from San Francisco. Red will try to unseat Stan Thaden of Chicago from the winner's chair. They'll compete in a single game match from which the winner will go on to bowl 5 frames by himself. For every pin he knocks down in those 5 prize frames, he'll take home as much as $10 or as little as $3. It all depends on what happens when our chief pin boy, Willie, spins this big bull wheel. Okay, Willie, you can take it away for now. Thanks a lot, Willie. We'll be seeing more of you later on in the show. And now, I'll step up to my soundproof booth, and we'll get on with the action. Let's go at the Downtown Bowl in San Francisco. Red Elkins on lane 38. It'll be thin, but it comes up just far enough to take out all 10. Nice light sweeper. Strike number 1 for Red Elkins. Now we'll watch Stan Thaden in action. Last week, Stan moved into the champion's chair when he defeated Lee Juglar of Detroit in a hair-raising finish. He lines it toward the pocket, comes in very little, and leaves the 10 pin. We hoped Stan would break the ice this week, get a good start on lane 39. Last week, he bowled his entire match game in his 5 prize frames without striking once on that lane. Still deaf on those spares. Fix them up with a minimum of fuss and bother. Not much of importance on the scoreboard yet. Elkins, of course, is off to a little faster start with his strikes stacked up against Stan's spare. Thaden back to 38. Probably wondering why he has this one so much better than 39. Just like his first ball, except that this time he dropped the 10 pin along with the rest. Stan keeps Red on his toes. Red must strike to stay ahead. Red looks down at the floor, puts his left foot on the spot, and he's ready to go. Real light. Bounces the head pin off the sideboard and takes out the 4 and 5 on its way across. A little less luck could easily have left a 4-5 split on that shot. Red's double now gives him a possible 10-pin advantage early in the game. A comfortable feeling, but then there's 8 frames left to go. Red went to Seattle in 1954, brought home the ABC Masters Tournament Championship, winning 7 consecutive matches from the country's top bowlers. He goes. Solid in the pocket. Red has the necessary start for a perfect game. If he goes on at this rate, he'll win an all-expense trip to Hawaii for 2, plus a chance to spin the big bull wheel for up to $6,000. Stan fires one on 39. High all the way. Too bad. A 3-10 split. We noticed that Stan tried a little different position on that shot. Started from farther over toward the center. Still feeling his way in this lane. Going for his spare. Cross alley. Never make it. Red's triple looked good before, but it now is bigger than ever. Stan better get off the launching pad and into that strike orbit. Back home again. Thinks about it a little. Let's see what happens. Waves it into the pocket. got to hurry if he wants to bowl the second half of his prize game and stay on the show next week. But this game's a long way from over. Remember, Stan came from behind last week, too. Red goes for 4 in a row. And punches it right on the nose. 6-10 spare stands. Red had only a short start toward a perfect game, but we're always hoping, even if it's nothing more than a strike in the first fray. And he covers the 6-10 in a true section. Stretch bowler or not, Stan's going to have to start soon and come up fast to beat that 30-stick lead. We're sure that Red Elkins is not going to let down. If he could put the game on ice in the next frame, you can be sure he'd do it. Starts the icing procedure, and with a Brooklyn hit at bat. Let's have a moment of silent prayer now for Stan Thaden as he tries for his first strike on lane 39. Well, we almost had it for you, Stan. The 4-pin had a notion, but it's still there. They may not be dropping for Stan on lane 39 this week, but he's sure laying that ball in there. First a 10-pin tap. Now the shaky 4-pin. Come on, Stan. Knock it off. And he does. The 30-pin deficit still stands. Thaden didn't pick up a pin. In fact, he may even stand to lose a few with his spare in the 5th against Red's strike. Red Elkins is certainly off to a terrific start. But don't ever underrate that man from Chicago. Last week, he overcame a big lead. We'll see if he can do it again, right after this interesting message. It took Red Elkins just 5 frames to develop a 30-pin bulge. It'll be up to Stan Thaden to neutralize it in the next 5. Here he is on the lane he's been hitting the best. He throws. Right on course, no doubt there. If he can go all the way down that path, he can finish with a 238. And that would really make Red hustle. Red glues his eyes to a spot just in front of the foul line. And shoots at it. Maybe Red had some doubt on that one. He was really steering it all the way. But back here, it seemed decisive enough. He's had Stan on the canvas for a short count all the way, and it doesn't look like he's going to let him back to his feet. Lines himself up very carefully. He goes wide, but still lines it in there for another strike. Red certainly demonstrates a lot of enthusiasm in controlling that ball. A 40-pin spread between the two contestants at this point. There's work and worry ahead for Thaden. Starting right now on 39. The jinx still holds. A beautiful ball, light in the pocket, wood all over the pin deck, but nothing gets that 10. Stan tackles this lane with grim determination. He keeps firing them into the pocket, even if they don't go. And he topples the 10. Barring a couple of open frames, on Red's side of the scoreboard, which seems unlikely, that almost wraps up the match. Even with Stan going all the way, 218 doesn't look like enough. He moves across to lane 38. He'll be in there trying, even though he only has an outside chance. A perfect hit, every pin right into the pit. Even though the scoreboard doesn't seem to show it, Stan Thaden has bowled a great game. He's only had one ball out of the pocket in 8 frames. Red lines up just as carefully as though the outcome of the game depended on this next shot. That's right. He rises to the occasion. That's all. Game's over. Even 2 opens for Red couldn't pull Stan off the fire now. We're sure that Red won't let off this team. The mark of a true champion. He'll hold Stan's head under the water until he's certain that he's drowned. Well, maybe we talked out of turn. He's on the nose and finds a 6-7 split looking back at him. There's the possible open that Stan's probably been hoping for. Afraid it came too late to do him much good. Red could go home now, and Stan still couldn't beat him. Let's watch this closely. It's far from easy, but it's made quite often. Close, but not this time. He had the right idea, but didn't cut it quite thin enough. Not quite the hair-raising finish we were treated to last week. Instead of going down to the last ball, Red buttoned it up in the 8th frame. Buried his opponent all the way. Here's Stan, his last chance on 39. Well, what do you know? He finally crashed the barrier. Even then, that 10 pin tried to be difficult, just as it was in frames 1 and 7. Doesn't seem possible for the bowler of Stan's caliber. 12 balls he's pitched down lane 39, most of them in the pocket. This his first strike. Give us a big finish now, Stan. Thank you. At least Stan won't go back to Chicago empty-handed. Last week, he spun the big ball winner's wheel for $4 a pin for his 5 prize frames. This week, we'll give him $250, less $1 a pin difference in scores, which he's now trying to cut down. At that rate, that ball could have been a $20 one. Stan would have had a long start toward a perfect game if he could have had all his shots on lane 38. As you can see by the board, he's had a strike every time on that lane. If he could have carried an in-betweener in frame 7, Red would have been sweating down to the very last ball. Here's Stan for his last time. He relaxed that one in a little high, finishes the game with a 4-7 on the boards. Nice shooting, Stan. Should have had more. The final score of 216 wins a lot of matches in the big bull, but not this week. Red up quickly now. Wants to get to his 5 frames where the money is. Adds another Brooklyn to the one he carried in frame 5. Here's a boy that just can't seem to do anything wrong. Red's ball has been equally effective on both sides of the head pin this week. He's been able to carry them full and thin, right and left. This one's a little thin, but it carries, just like the others. You've probably noticed the difference in the way these 2 men delivered the ball. Stan bends it very slightly, while Red turns a sharp corner. The line bowler depends on accuracy, while the wide-breaking hooker relies on extreme lift and turn. in one. Lift and turn certainly paid off for Red this week. Congratulations to the new Big Bull champion with a walloping 244 to a very respectable 216, a decisive 28-pin margin. We told you that Stan would make a great finish, and he did. But his string of strikes came a couple of frames too late. 300 games are pretty tough to come by, and particularly in competition bowling. But Red Elkins came mighty close with 10 strikes out of a possible 12, and that's pretty hard to beat. Now here's something else that's pretty hard to beat. Stan, we want to thank you for being on the show. We certainly hope you've enjoyed your stay in San Francisco. Sorry it couldn't have been longer, but we hope to see you back on the Big Bull real soon. Now, Willie's going to tap the bank account for your check for $562. I'll bet our bank has the prettiest cashier you've met in a long time. Thanks again for being with us, Stan, and give our regards to all the bowlers back in Chicago.
I'll do it.
Our great competitor, ladies and gentlemen, Stan Thaden. And now our new Big Bull champion with 10 strikes in his match game to chalk up a resounding 244. Here's Red Elkins. Red, you sure murdered those pins. Guess those lanes felt pretty good to you this trip.
Yeah, wonderful, Bill.
Red, we know you're a family man. What do you think of bowling as a family sport?
Oh, I like it. I really do.
Is Mrs. Elkins a good bowler?
Well, not very good, no.
Do you have any rooters in the audience?
My wife.
Let's hope she brings you more luck, because I see Willie over here getting ready to bring out the Big Bull wheel. Now, you're going to have your choice of $5 a pin for your prize game, or whatever comes up on the wheel. When the bell rings, let us know. Let her fly, Willie.
I'll take the wheel, Bill.
$7 a pin? Not bad. In 5 frames, that could turn into quite a bit of cash. Let's hope he knocks them all down. Red has chosen to start his prize frames on lane 38. Here he goes. Delivers, and he's in there. No, he's not. That looked just like those beautiful thin sweepers Red was throwing in his match game. This one went a little flat, left the 2-5 up. As it turned out, Red made a happy choice when he took the wheel instead of the guaranteed $5. It'll mean an extra $2 a pin for everything he shoots in those 5 prize frames. Here he goes for a tricky spare. Watch out, Red. Well, he was careful not to chop it all right. Almost missed it entirely. Red heaves a little sigh of relief, getting away with that one. A miss there could have cost him as much as $84. Now he'll be up on 39 to see if he can start one of those dollar-multiplying strike sessions. It's on the nose. Now it crosses over, goes for a Brooklyn strike. Red showed his appreciation by leaping about 4 feet up off the lanes in the air. That strike marks up $140 in the first frame for Mr. Elkins. All the way out now, and we'll hand him a deposit slip for $980 in the Big Bull Bank. All right, Red, give us another one. driving strike puts a double on the scoreboard for our new big bull champion. Red looks perfectly at ease again now that he's found the groove. His feathers were just a little bit ruffled after he almost missed his spare in frame one. We've noticed that most bowlers shoot better scores when they're practicing by themselves, probably because their concentration isn't interrupted by waiting for another bowler. They get the same break here on the big bull prize frames. He's way up, crosses the head pin, too bad. Didn't get the break he had in frame two when he got his Brooklyn. 6:10 left. Spares like this can be a problem, particularly to sharp-breaking hook throwers like Red Elkins. He'll have to start far over to the left and tightrope the nail down to cover it. Careful now, Red. Uh-oh, he heaves it inside all the way, flicks off the 6, and passes up the 10. That was tough luck. Red had to get an open, though. Better here than in the next frame. For if he strikes in frame 5, we automatically give him 30 to simplify things for our big bull cashier. And a spare, of course, will net him 20. He does strike. The 10 pin had a notion to stand pat again that time, but the 3 came back off the wall and took it out. Couldn't have happened at a better time to a nicer fellow. 106 pins times $7. That's $742 in the bank for the big bull champion. Red had a little bad luck in that 4th frame, but he came through with a strike in the 5th where it counted. And here's something else that counts. Here again is our big bull champion for this week, Red Elkins. Red, I guess you want to take that $742 home with you right now.
Yes, I do.
Well, we'd like to give it to you, but instead, we're going to have Willie deposit it here in the big bull bank. Next week, you'll have a chance to add some more to it. We have one more little job for you. Choose a number from our covered board and see who your next opponent will be.
I'll take number 2.
Hank Lauman? How about it, Red? Think you can beat him?
I'm going to try. He's real tough.
See you next week, folks, when Red Elkins takes on Hank Lauman. This ought to be a battle of the giants. If Red wins, he'll finish the prize game he's already started and go on to the big money. Next week, more top-flight bowling, more thrills, more excitement, right here on the Big Bull. Hope you can be with us. Until then, so long from Phil Brooks and the